Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Unstoppable Overcomers. And I am your host, Dorothy Odell. I love, okay, I'm not sure what's going on, but it's like there's a delay. We have the amazing
Diana Mouring.
Diane Mouring on the show. And Mouring, hello. Welcome to the show, Diana.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Diana, can you tell our guests a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do?
So, my husband and I have owned and operated 7 different businesses, sold them off, merged them off at different levels of success. And so, we've kind of been serial entrepreneurs, if you will. And then, when it came time to give back, we started a nonprofit called Stars Forward. And Stars Forward helps our active military and their families get home when they need to.
Awesome. I love all that because, sorry guys, I was hearing like a major echo and feedback. Uh, oh my gosh. Okay, so Tabitha, thanks for joining us. And I love what you do with Stars Forward. So, Diane, can you tell us a little bit about what Stars Forward is all about?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Stars Forward is an organization that helps our active military and their families get home when they need to be there. They're never stationed close to home. And so, unless the military actually sends them somewhere, they don't get to travel for free. That's a huge misconception in the world, is the fact that no, if a soldier needs to get home, our government takes care of that. Well, really, they don't. And since they're never close to home, when things happen and they need to be there, they have to pay out of pocket in order to get home. So what we do is they submit a a form through us, and then we cover all of the expenses for them, and if need be, their families, to get home to whatever event is going on in their lives, whether it be good, bad, or otherwise. So we've helped soldiers get home to see their daughters graduate. We've helped soldiers get home to see their daughters born, daughters or sons, and we've helped, soldiers get home to be the best man in a wedding, to be, so there's all kinds of good things. But then unfortunately, when bad things happen, we help them as well. We've helped them get home for funerals if someone close to them has been in an accident, and we help them in those cases too.
I love what you guys do. And what attracted me to we were first speaking was the fact that it's active duty. We've done a lot with our veterans, but I really
Mhm.
love the fact that this is helping our active duty men and women, to be able to get home in those instances when they really need it. And I just love that you guys do that. And so what made you guys to start Stars Forward?
So basically, we've been very fortunate in our professional lives. And so we kind of really thought it's time for us to give back. It's time for us to help some other people. And my husband is a veteran from in the Marines. And so it was a natural fit that we were going to do something with the military. But we started thinking about the fact, the same thing you just said, that veterans, there are a lot of programs out there for veterans. And so we decided to start reaching out to all the different branches of the military. And there's something called a family readiness group. And this family readiness group is the group that you basically meet when you enter any new base, and they kind of show you around and tell you what's going on. And so we reached out to them and said, okay, if we were going to do something for active military, what would make the most impact? What would make the most difference in their lives? And it came back with a resounding emergency travel. The only other people that we know of that cover emergency travel is oh, the huge one in the United States, and I can't think of the name of it right now. It just completely. But there is one other organization, but there's a saying in the military: two is one is none. And so we would love to get to a point where, if there's something we can't handle, they could help. And if they can't handle, we can help. And we don't always cover the same thing. So it makes it really nice for those soldiers.
Right. Absolutely. And it's funny when my uncle was stationed out in Calgary, I believe, I forget who passed away, but somebody passed away, and it was just like we were scrambling to find out how we were going to pay that monies for him to come home, right? And too bad we didn't know about your services back then, but it was definitely needed. And for anybody that has military family, you know what that's like. So I'm assuming that you guys are funded fully by donations. And how can somebody get to you? What's the best way for them to donate?
If you go to starsforward.org, there's a donation button. So you can do a one-time donation, you can do a monthly donation, and so you can fill it out and go either way.
Perfect. I did put that in the show notes here. So starsforward.org. Love that. Yeah, absolutely love that. And thank you for being patient with me, guys. There was like a huge echo earlier in feedback, and now I don't hear it. So now I'm good. Oh man. So, and you and your husband also have a security business too, right? A cybersecurity
Cybersecurity.
business.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us more about that.
So basically, every time we've started a new company, we've gone on the mantra: see a need, fill a need. And so when our previous company, which was the first one to ever close, was shut down by the pandemic, we kind of did the same thing we always did. We fall back, we regroup with the greatest group of engineers in the world. Big shout out to them. And we got together and we started looking around and seeing, okay, what does the world need? And we've always been in the tech space. Everything we've done has been tech oriented. And we always have kind of been in it for the little guy. Like, we're in it for the small business owner, the medium sized business owner. Yes, we can help larger businesses and enterprises, but that's not really our goal. Our goal is to help the small to mid-sized business space. And so when we started looking around, everywhere you looked, it was data breach this and, ransomware that. And that was right around the time that that SolarWinds was in the news for their gigantic, they had a supply chain exploit, all different kinds of cybersecurity. And so at that point, that's when we decided, hey, we need to help because there are no good options in the small to mid-sized business space for cybersecurity.
Right. Absolutely love that. Love that. And so, can you tell us what it is that you do to help with cybersecurity? 'Cause for me, I am not I don't know anything about IT, and I leave that for the professionals, and that's why we hire you people.
And that's exactly it. So our big differentiator is the fact that we do cybersecurity differently. We do it through a hardware device. And what that means is, by being a hardware device, we sit just inside your firewall. So yes, it is still important to have a firewall. The firewall definitely has a job, and I'll explain that more in just a second. But right behind the firewall, that way we see 100% of the traffic that comes and goes across the internet. And by doing that, that allows us to see 100% of the devices on your network. Most software security systems, actually, you have to install an agent on the device you want protected. The problem is we all have devices, whether at home or at our business location, that can't have that software installed on it, such as security cameras, printers, badge access points. Right now, you can't even buy a major appliance without it wanting to talk to the internet. And so with all of these conversations being had, that's a space where most cybersecurity misses. And so by ours being a hardware device, we can protect 100% of the endpoints rather than just the computers, the laptops, the tablets, the phones, those kinds of devices.
Okay, so I have to ask this burning question because this happens to me pretty much daily. So if I'm talking to somebody about something, guaranteed 9 times out of 10, there is a Facebook ad about it like within 24 hours or less. So are they really tapping in to everything that we own?
Now, I can't speak about what Facebook is doing or what Google is doing, but I agree with you. Those things do happen, and it seems very, but usually the things that we've talked about, we've done searches about. And that's where the user agreement for every piece of software you download is so, so, so important to read. There are so many out there that say, we get access to your microphone. We get access to the pictures you take. We get access to every search you do on Google so that they can make those ads come up. And if you just blindly agree to that user agreement, you're saying, yes, please take all of my data. Please spy on everything that I'm doing. Please look at every picture that I take. And you're allowing that. So you really have to be careful when it comes to user agreements.
Oh shit. Like I never read any of that stuff. I'll be perfectly honest, I don't.
And most don't, and that's one of the biggest things that we suggest is, even if you don't want to get into the tech mumbo jumbo, go into the privacy policy. Software out there that I'm not going to name. However, it checks your grammar and it checks your typing, and you can put contracts and everything through it. But they've said in the user agreement that they get access to everything you have it check. So therefore, they're allowed to read through whatever legal contract you're putting through there, whatever anything that you're putting through there, and it's right there, plain and simple, in their user agreement that says that it allows them to do that.
Well, no way. And yeah, I have that software because,
Well, there's a
it's
couple of them, so it depends on which one you have, whether it's the one I'm referring to.
well, okay, I'll just say it because I can. So I use Grammarly. And so that is like because, and I use it faithfully because, back when I just became an author, I had a couple of spelling mistakes on some things and people ripped me apart. So heaven forbid, you're an author and you have a couple of spelling mistakes in some of your posts. And instead of just taking the point of it and it was always inspirational posts, someone's got to poke fun at something. And so, that's why I got it. I have it on everything, and that makes sense why I have no privacy.
But that's the thing. It depends really on what you're having it check. I mean, if you think about it, if you're writing a book, could someone else steal the idea? Yes, they could. If you're writing a contract between two businesses, could someone use that against you? Possibly. There's so much or not.
Wow. But I never even thought of that. I just wanted to give a shout out here to Tabitha. She says she loves what you said. Love see a need and fill it. And that's funny because I've said that myself too. So I'm like, what's the biggest business that you could have? See a need and fill it and make helping both by making money at the same time.
Hey, I always
Uh,
tell everybody that the Disney movie Robots, Big Weld is my hero. So if you see, because that's his mantra, he's always talking about being an inventor and see a need, fill a need. So I always say that Big Weld is my hero.
right. Absolutely. Well, and back when the pandemic was starting, I was thinking because all these elderly didn't want to leave their home. Well, especially here, anyways. And basically, the only time we could have left our house was to go grocery shopping. So, how many seniors out there? I saw lots on Facebook complaining that they have this. I forget what it's called, but you order the groceries and then they'll deliver them. But they were charging them like $18 to $20 just to deliver them, and then there was a surcharge on top of the groceries. I'm like, well, why don't I just go do this for the elderly? But I'm an essential worker, so I never got downtime during COVID. And so, yeah, I was thinking, what a great way that could have helped the community and things like that. But
there were a group of people in our community that did that because we have a whole section up front that's kind of a retirement village. And so we had that. But me being with Stars Forward did not have any downtime during the pandemic either. We had soldiers stranded everywhere and all kinds of things happening. So Stars Forward actually did a lot of work during the pandemic.
yeah. Well, I can imagine because, like you said, like then the soldiers coming back just for there's a lot of different things that was going on, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. A
Oh,
lot of people
absolutely.
sick.
We had a group of soldiers that were, we don't want to say stranded, but they were. They were actually, when all of the flights shut down, where they weren't letting anybody fly, they were actually on an annex of a base. So they were 10 miles away from the main base. And because they had just flown in, they weren't even allowed on the main base. So they had no access to the PX, which is the grocery store for, and they weren't allowed to go in town because all the restaurants were closed. So they were actually bringing them 3 meals a day, but that was it. Like that, they couldn't go to the grocery store, they couldn't shop, they couldn't do anything. And if you think about, they're in a barracks, so basically they're in a room with a bunch of beds, and the Wi-Fi was so sketchy that they could only get on the Wi-Fi, and the cellular were so bad they could only let one group on every 3 days. So that was the only time they could check in on their families or whatnot. And they were going out of their mind. And someone contacted Stars Forward. So we put together a humongous Amazon wish list. And everybody came together and shipped them everything from snacks and candy to hand soap and detergent to snacks and footballs and Sudoku books. And we had the greatest turnout for that. They received so much stuff that they were actually able to leave it behind for the people that were coming in after them. They had board games and all kinds of models and all kinds of stuff that we sent to them to try and help out.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So your Stars Forward is more than just like getting them home. I mean, it's like a whole community of need, right? And I love
There
that.
is. We have to be careful because we have to stay within particular confines. But during the pandemic, we were allowed to branch out further than what we normally are. And so, like,
Mhm.
we had a group that were sent, they were deployed overseas, but that was back when masks were really scarce. So, what we
Mhm.
did is we pulled a bunch of our volunteers together and we actually sewed 200 masks in a weekend and shipped them out on a Monday. So, they had them, it actually met them at the barracks the very first day they showed up, were at their deployment area. So
Oh,
they had masks and they were so happy. They all sent me pictures with masks on, and they were so happy to have them because even though they were considered, the place they were being shipped to was considered non-essential, they thought they were essential. So we got those taken care of for them.
right. You know, and it's funny how things shifted from essential to non-essential too during that time, right? Well, at
Yes.
least here in Canada, because it was, without getting political, it was all about politics, and you know, and things changed like moment to moment, and I get it. And when something happens for the first time, or the first time in over 100 years, anyways, um, because if we look back at history, you know, there was not only the swine flu at one time, but then there was an outbreak back in, I thought I read somewhere in the early 1920s or 30s or something like that. There was an outbreak, pandemic back then too. So history does repeat itself. And I guess we were just blessed enough to see it be repeated.
Yeah. I could have skipped that. Now, the only good thing that came out of it, though, is I don't believe you and I would have ever met had everything
That's
not
true.
been pushed online. You being from Canada, me being from Ohio, I don't think our paths would have crossed. So, the silver lining for me to the whole pandemic was pushing networking online. And that way we
Mhm.
got to meet a whole new onslaught of people that were like from everywhere. I now know people all across this great nation and Canada, and it's all been because of the networking being pushed online.
You know, I love that you said that, because yes, there was a lot of downside, but there's a lot of good side. If you came out of the pandemic with not having learned something, like a new skill or something, that was on you. Because
Right.
I mean, I wrote a book, I wrote two books, started this platform, got two shows going all within the pandemic. So I mean, seriously, we all, you know, could have taken advantage of it. Most did, some didn't. And you're right. You know, I think absolutely, bringing the network online, even the playing field across the world, let alone just across the United States, right? And so, because I've actually done business in, I want to say Berlin, but I don't know if it's Berlin. I know Ireland, anyways. I know I've had a couple guys on here from Ireland, and things like that. So it's just been an absolute pleasure, you know, using this space. And Well, I know we're going to be in I know we're going to be in Ohio sometime before March, so we'll have to when I get the date firm, we'll have to connect in person. But
Absolutely, absolutely.
and maybe even go watch a football game together. Who knows?
There you go.
No, football will be done by then. Football will be done by
Yeah,
then.
well,
What
because
am I thinking?
yeah, the Super Bowl's coming up here shortly.
February 12th. Yes.
That'll be so
But
good.
at least your team kicked butt last night. So
I have to say, not a football fan. Like I watch football, I enjoy football, I love football food. So I'm the one in the kitchen cooking all the football food while everybody else watches. But literally, I walk into the room and I'm like, which team has the cooler uniform? Yep, that's my team for today. And so I love
that is
to
so
watch
funny.
football, but I don't necessarily have any, loyalty to any one team.
I think that is hilarious. My mom used to pick the winning team by the color of the helmets.
See, there you go. Same kind of idea. It's just whichever uniform I think is
Yes.
cooler, then that's my team for the day. And
I love that. So, do you guys have any events planned, like any fundraising events planned for Stars Forward in the near future?
so we always do the Dayton Air Show, which is in the middle of the summer, but it's unfortunately it's very localized. The only online fundraising events that we do is occasionally we'll do them through Facebook. And so if you're not following Stars Forward on Facebook, please do, please do. The information was in the invite, but it's very easy to find us on Facebook. But we do some there, but most of the stuff that we do is in person here local in Cincinnati.
Perfect. Okay. Well, when you have those events, let us know, and we'll get the Facebook world involved for sure.
Okay.
You know that because I truly love what you guys are doing. You know, and stand behind that. And like you said, there's just so many great veteran organizations, but this is a good one that we could sink in and help our active duty members. So I do know that I've mentioned you to other veteran organizations and say, hey, any of your friends active duty, because you know we need to team up with these guys. Um, and I know that I've talked to the executive director of Camaraderie Rescue Mission too, and doing maybe once we can figure out what we're doing with our website, we'll get you up there so that you know people. We like to collaborate with different organizations so that your name gets further out there
Oh, we would
as well.
definitely appreciate that. We would definitely, and anybody looking to do a birthday fundraiser or anything like that on Facebook, we love it when our followers make us the place that they're donating to for their birthday. So anything like that, every little bit helps, and that's the thing that I can't seem to get across to people the most is if you can only afford $5, then $5 still helps. It helps us buy a ticket. We're in the process right now. Big news is we're trying to get on Delta's. They have a new, basically where you can donate Sky Miles. It's called Skywish. And we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to partner with them so that people will be able to donate Sky Miles for Stars Forward to use to help get our military home. So with that, we are very hopeful we'll come on board in mid-March. So I will let you know about that as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'll be a
That is
huge
awesome.
help. That will be a huge help if people can donate, because a lot of corporate accounts and whatnot, they have all of these Sky Miles. They have no idea what to do with them. They're more than they're ever going to use in this lifetime or the next two. And they're like, we would gladly donate Sky Miles to you. So I have jumped on that, and we are really trying to push hard to get that in and done.
Awesome. Well, once you get that, then we'll go to air miles.
Yeah.
Because it does seem that no matter how many air miles I've collected, it's never going to be enough to get me a trip anywhere. But if you collectively put them, what's funny, my uncle, before my aunt passed away, my uncle said, you know, I have all these air miles and your aunt never wanted to travel. I said, well, why didn't you pick me? I would have went with you somewhere. And so he had enough air miles to travel the world. I don't know how many times. But you know, after a reasonable amount of period, he found a new wife, and so him and his new wife get to travel on behalf of my
Well, you know,
Anyways, you gotta love that. But yeah, definitely tell us when that happens because we'll get the we'll definitely to get you back on, or definitely
Yeah.
tell our listeners about that so that they can donate their Sky Miles, because that is absolutely wonderful. Perfect. And so with the cybersecurity, how can people reach you on with that end if somebody needed
So
help with that?
our website is mycyberstack.com, brand new website. That's one of the really cool things. And another thing that differentiates us is all of our pricing is out there on the website. Whether you're a brick and mortar business, we have the Nader Professional Edition, and then we also have the Nader. Oh, that's the business edition. Sorry. Then we have this one that you see behind me, which is the Nader Professional Edition. I don't know if that's like clear or not. But so what
There
that
we
one
go.
is, that's actually it's actually a travel nader. So this one actually you pop it in your laptop bag and it goes with you to protect you while you're on airplanes, while you're in hotel rooms, while you're on site at a customer site, while you're anytime you're away from home and you have to connect to an untrusted Wi-Fi. So whether you're at Starbucks or at the Hilton or at a trade show, anytime you have to connect to what we call an untrusted Wi-Fi, that what you do is you hook your laptop to it hooks to the Wi-Fi, and then basically you have a little force field around whatever you're traveling with, so that they can't get to your data. You don't have to worry about what else is on that network. You don't have to worry about if there's malware floating around on their Wi-Fi or anything like that. You are totally and completely protected with the professional unit.
Wow. I didn't even know that existed. And just think of how many people didn't know that till now.
Well, that's the thing. When you're on the same Wi-Fi with a hacker, you're basically wide open for something called a man-in-the-middle attack. And basically, since they're coming from the same Wi-Fi you're on, your computer assumes that they can be trusted. And you never know who you're flying with. You never know who you're in a hotel with. You never know. There's something called spoofing a Wi-Fi, where someone can actually get a room in a hotel, put up their own Wi-Fi, call it the name of the hotel, and when you hook to it, they get access to everything that's on your computer, save passwords, emails, corporate data, anything. And if you connect to the cloud, now they're connected to your cloud. And so when you think about traveling around and taking your laptop or your tablet everywhere you go, think of all the untrusted places we connect to. It's a big, scary world out there when you know what's possible. I tell everybody all the time, your printer can stab you in the back.
Holy smokes. Tabitha says that's what she's excited about.
Yes,
Taking that and traveling.
yes, she wants to take that and be able to travel.
Wow, that's interesting. Um, I hope Kimberly is listening to that, because I know she travels quite a bit. She's in the green room right now, but she'll be on shortly. But yeah, no, that definitely needed. And so you said that protects your cell phone as well, or just
Yes.
your?
No, you can connect any device that connects to the internet. So what we have is, this is also considered our solopreneur and entrepreneur version. So basically you can install it at your house to protect select devices. We have so many devices at our house. I keep referencing my daughter who has a Wi-Fi toothbrush. Like, who needs a Wi-Fi toothbrush, but whatever. But so we have all of these devices. To protect each one of those devices would make it uncost feasible. Like, there'd be no way to be able to afford that. So what we do is we take the most important devices, or the devices that you use for your business or for banking or anything that you want to make sure that stays private. Because if you have kids that are gamers, they don't pay attention to anything. They just click until the game shows up, and that's that. And
Right.
so by being able to take this and put it at your house, you can connect up to 30 devices to it. So you can connect your computer, your laptop, your spouse's computer, their laptop, a work printer. You have to be on a different printer than your kids if your kids, for whatever reason, print. But then a lot of people put the Ring doorbell on there because they don't
Mm.
want people being able to hack into and be able to see their children at home, because a lot of them use the internal cameras in their house to figure out when kids get home from school. And so by having that on the Nader device, you don't have to worry about anybody spying on or being able to see your kids or you at home or who's at your front door.
I love that. I love that. And well, okay, now you had me thinking, because we have Ring. We don't have the cameras. We just have it so that when we set it and we leave, if the sensor, one of the door sensors or window sensors, are come open, then that's when the alarm goes on.
Mhm.
And I never thought of that because it is 100% run by Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
We found that out the hard way. Um, yeah, never thought about that. And then, if somebody wants to get into your house,
Mhm.
they hack into your security system, your computers, everything like that.
And see, that's where
Shit.
I talk about the printer because, like, if you think about trusted relationships, your printer and your laptop, they have a trusted relationship. They're allowed to talk. So even if you have an agent on your laptop and the printer decides to send you malware, that agent isn't going to protect you because of the fact it knows your computer is allowed to talk to your printer and your printer is allowed to talk to the computer. There's a two-way communication string there. So we're seeing more and more that I always compare this to like the Matrix. The agent in the Matrix that is such, a harsh guy, bad guy. Nobody wants to go up against an agent. Well, neither do
Mm.
hackers. They don't want to go up against the agent on your laptop because they can come in through the one inept guard that is your printer. And they can come right in, get right onto your computer, and your agent isn't even looking. So when I say that your printer can stab you in the back, it really can. And it's already allowed to talk to your computer. And if you're at a brick and mortar establishment, it's even worse because now your printer's networked. It's talking to 50 different computers. Nobody prints much anymore, so everybody hooks to one printer. Somebody gets on that printer, now it can get into, like, it can get on your network, it can get around, it can do anything, and it all
Right.
came in through your printer. And most people don't even realize that that's a possibility, so they don't know to protect them.
Right. Yeah. No, I didn't think about it at all. Do you guys help businesses too, or just for
Oh
residential?
no, we do small to mid-sized businesses, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, all the way up to and including, like, we have manufacturers that have this installed at their plants because again, you can't install an agent on a manufacturing line. However, hackers get in there and change one or two numbers, they can screw up $1 million run just by
Mhm.
changing a few little numbers, and they do it just maliciously. It's awful, the fact that they do it just basically to be awful.
Right. I'm just thinking because I know we're changing. We have new IT at work, so they're trying to change all of security,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been implementing some new stuff. And when you said, the printers and all of us connected to the different, so not only that, like head office is by where I'm at, but then we also have plants from Romulus to Texas to Georgia and surrounding areas, and all of them are into the main hub. So you have all of these facilities. No wonder why our IT was going gray, and we go through this.
Well, but that's the whole thing, is that if you're a networked printer and that network connects to all those different, it can actually go to those different locations. It doesn't have to stay on the local area network. It can go to the wide area network and wreak havoc on an entire business. And if it's installing ransomware, it can eventually shut everything down until you pay a ransom. And all because you didn't protect a printer, a security camera, badge access. If you actually control your HVAC system from your phone, they can hack that. We've seen people get hacked through an elevator system because they owned the building. So the elevator system was on their Wi-Fi and they got in that way. I mean, a Las Vegas casino got hacked through the aquarium in their lobby. These guys spent
No way.
millions. Literally, you can Google it. That they were actually hacked through the heating unit on the aquarium. Now, granted, their aquarium is bigger than my office, but that's beside the point. It's a huge multi-million dollar probably aquarium. But at the same time, hackers got in and stole all of their high roller data through the heating unit on that aquarium.
Wow. 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 Huh. It's amazing, and somebody who, okay, so I've been called naive, and but it's just I don't think like that. I don't think to screw somebody over. I help the people. I don't screw them over, but I don't think like a hacker, and I
No.
don't think like that. And everything that you're saying is making me really think overtime here. Yeah, interesting. We're
Well,
gonna have
and
to look
that's
into
the
this.
thing. You don't know what you don't know. And so that's why if you look up Nader on LinkedIn, we've started doing Cyber Terminology Tuesday. And we've started really trying to do these educational posts about the fact, your printer can stab you in the back, that bad things can happen. There's things called spoofing, and there's all this stuff out there. And the more we can educate people, the better off they are. So if you find me on LinkedIn, you can get to DS Labs, and then the showcase page is Nader. And there's all kinds of stuff out there. And we're posting more and more every week to kind of try and educate people, because unfortunately, even the software security companies that come out, they're telling you about what they do protect. They're obviously not going to tell you what they don't protect. They're not going to tell you, by the way, your printers need protecting, but we don't do that. And so most people don't even think about these peripheral devices that we have all around us that at any point in time can be hacked. And the
Right.
cool part about DS Labs and the Nader device is it is so affordable. It really doesn't even move the budgetary decimal point. Whether you're doing the brick and mortar business edition or whether you're doing the professional edition, there's two different things you can do. You can pay for the device up front and get a lower monthly fee, or you can have a slightly higher monthly fee and no cost up front. So really, can you afford not to do it is the question.
Right. And Tabitha says that's the reason hackers get so many people,
It's because you
because we
don't
don't
know.
think about it.
Mhm.
You don't, it never happened. Don't think it's going to happen to us until it does, right?
That's always the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing we hear the most is a lot of people have the misconception that hacking is a one-to-one kind of scenario. And they're like, well, I'm not a target. Why would anybody want to hack me? Well, the thing is I like to tell people, if you remember the old movie War Games, and the main character would come home from school and he would take his phone and he would plug it into a device that would sit and dial phone number after phone number. So it was 555-1111, 555-1112, until a computer answered and he got that signal. Well, that's kind of how hackers work. They throw out this broad net and they do that same idea, but with IP addresses. And all they're waiting for is for there to be a computer on the other end that answers. They don't even know what kind of device they've connected to, but they're smart enough. And this is their full-time job. They don't do anything else. This isn't a weekend gig for them. This isn't something they do on the side. This is their 40-hour-a-week job, and they're good at it. And they're becoming better and better at it, which is why we have to have better defenses against it. And so it doesn't matter if you're a target or not. If you have one port open on one place on your firewall, you have one. Think about your house as your business. You have one open window, something you forgot to lock, something you forgot to close down, they're in, and then it's over. And that's the scary statistic. 60% of small to mid-sized companies that have a data breach are out of business inside of 6 months.
Wow. That's insane. 60%.
Yes.
I'm writing this down. Wow. That's
Well, I mean, you've got
and so how many companies would that be? Like how many companies do you know? Lots.
I don't have a number off the top of my head because it's hard to track. I mean, if you think about the fact that so many watch the news right now, everything you see is this person had a data breach. PayPal just had a data breach. Riot Games just had a data breach. And the sad thing is like this one from PayPal, they came out and said, oh yeah, we had a data breach in December. So everybody's like, okay, that's kind of scary. How and they only have to come out and say that they've been breached, but then as they find out more, they have to let us know. Well, come to find out, the initial breach was back in July of last year. Who's been paying attention to every little 5-cent charge on their credit card between then and now, when they're just now coming out and saying that this has been a problem since July?
Wow.
And how many of us use PayPal?
That's
I mean, I do. It's supposed to be secure.
yeah. Yeah. I remember saying that because one of my Hollywood producers got really upset with that. I saw a couple of his posts and I was just like, what the heck happened here? It's funny because I use PayPal, but then one of the transactions that I had with one of my clients, they refused it, so I don't use it anymore. So I'm just like, okay. Um, yeah, but you're right with the companies like that, especially when that's all they do is transfer money. They have to be safe and secure, right?
Right. And now they have their own bank. So in order to open a bank account, they have to have your social security number. They have to have, so think about the information that can be lost. And if big companies like that can be breached, that's the problem. Small companies, they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what to put into place. They don't, that's where this is where you'll see the passion come out, because that's where I want to help. I want to make sure these small businesses are protected and can afford really great protection. and
Mhm.
and, and that's where that's why we do what we do, is we want to make sure that these small to mid-sized businesses have a great option for cybersecurity, because one wrong click, it just takes one wrong click, and it can undo your entire business. Everything you've worked so hard for, everything you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into, can be gone in that instance of one click.
Yeah. Thomas says, I have two scammers waiting for payment in PayPal. In hospitals, I know there was a huge breach in the hospital here where I live, and I'm thinking, that's scary. So not only is it your financial information, but your medical too, right? Because here
Right.
in Canada, free healthcare. Um, you know, and I say quotation marks around that because technically the amount we're taxed is not free healthcare. We're 13% on everything you purchase that isn't essential. Um, adds up. So
Mhm.
yeah, but then somebody hacks into that, and
Well,
you
and we're
know,
expected to give them all of our information. Like here in America, you have to give them social security numbers. You have to give them all of this, and they won't help you until you do. So we're supposed to
yeah,
trust them with all of this personal information, all of this. And I mean, there's stories, there's things online where you can see where people have broken into doctors' offices just to find out what medications people take, so they know what to do to take them out of the picture. And these are big, big. I mean, these are your bigger. This is where small cybersecurity doesn't really have a lot to worry about. But when you're talking about millions of dollars at stake, it's amazing the lengths that they will go.
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Hmm. Well, we'll help you get into some of these major corporations here. Because they could use it. I mean, seriously, just thinking about everything that could be wiped out, um, we have everything on our computers and our phones. I mean, my phone is basically like a computer itself, right? I think
Mhm.
everybody uses it as that. Like, I can do anything from stream to my banking, like you said, to whatever. And we need to get that, you know,
How many
we need
people
to
use
get
the tap to pay? How many people use? And so it's like, where do we trust putting our information, and where do we hold back? It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier with the privacy policies and all of this, that, and the other. You've really got to be careful of where you put your information, and to keep an eye on things. I mean, I've heard so many people say, I depend on LifeLock. Well, LifeLock just came out and said that they got hacked, and a ton of information was stolen from them. And that's the vault where you're supposed to put everything to keep it safe, to know if anybody is using your information maliciously, and they got hacked.
mm, wow.
So when you're paying monthly to take everything and stick it in this, what you're considering to be this big kind of bank vault of information, you're expecting that to stay safe. So when I saw that they were hacked, I was like, oh my goodness gracious, is anybody safe?
No, it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like we're safe.
But you can be, depending on how they're getting in. You can be. There are lots of steps that you can take, and that is the next version of our education, is going to be things like, there are so many people that don't have two-factor authentication turned on because it's such a pain. To pick up that phone and type in that code is such a pain. But at the same time, it prevents 99% of attacks. So if you think
Right.
about that, but yet only like 83% of people even use it in one instance, let alone across every platform they use. So when you start thinking statistically, there are a lot of things that you can do to prevent these things, but it's all
Right.
in an education.
Right, absolutely. And thank you so much, Diana, for sharing with us so passionately about Stars Forward and cybersecurity. Um, wow, you definitely give me a lot to think about. And and now comes the other half of our show when we're going to bring on Kimberly and her amazing guest. Oops, hold on. And her amazing guest, Christian. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Diana.
Hello.
You're amazing. It's been
Oh,
such a
pleasure.
privilege to get to listen to you share tonight and everything that you're up to. And you really, it's so fun. I hear a lot of people, really struggling with the day to day of life. And you're such an inspiration of someone who's out there, yucking it up in life with like everything that's like, I like to refer to life as the bountiful, smorgasbord, right? And you're out there like, I'll let me get into all of it. So it's really great. It's really amazing. And it's just, it warms my personal heart because I love seeing it. I love seeing people be like, hey, what are we going to do today? So thank you for that. And we always laugh, right? Because everybody who watches the show knows this is not our show. We steward the show. It's the Holy Spirit show, and it never fails, right, Dorothy? Here we are. We've got a successful serial entrepreneur as a lead guest, and hello, flying in from Arizona. We have a very successful serial entrepreneur who's also sold his companies. And Christian, I'm going to let you just jump in and share all the goodies you got. Oh, we can't hear you. Technical difficulties. More technical difficulties tonight. Tonight is the night and then the world gets to see how we perform because we have the Holy Spirit on our side. We don't make it mean anything.
I love it. I love it. Well, it's, great. My name's Christian, and earlier, cybersecurity is such a hot topic, like multi-factor authentication. I mean, you're talking two-factor authentication, which most people aren't doing anyways. But then to get secured, to get insurance, to get protected from the most vulnerable attacks, you have to have multi-factor authentication. So if you don't even have multi-factor authentication and you're still figuring out what two-factor authentication is, say goodbye to some of your business. And I was hacked. I was at the I was premiering, giving a talk in front of 5,000 people. I was being voted on as a small business icon finalist of the year, and 3 days later, we get hacked. We get null and void. Our website has skull and crossbones and like naked ladies on it. And so talk to me about like, what do you have to do at the most opportune times of your life is be protected and be secure. It ended up being our host that got hacked. So we were one of the targets because we were like on this automated email marketing, and I'm giving this speech on, like, create space in your life so that you can really take time. And, we got 5 days of space because our customers couldn't come in. We had tons of phone calls and we had to learn how to live without a website for 5 days. And we were not that kind of company. So it created for us, though, going into mobile, going into apps, going into other opportunities. So you're not reliant on just one place to do some of your access to your customers. So great topic. Always love it. So who I am is a coach. Like my teams win. And I got really good at teams. And so in 2010, I got to go to South Africa. My club team was winning. My high school team was #1 ranked in the nation that year. And I got bored coaching teams. I focused on individuals, and I started a private soccer academy. And from that private soccer academy, let's do this one thing really well all the time. And we're just going to like focus on every customer as if they were our own. And Left Foot Coaching Academy had over, 2,500 students over 12 years. And I own the real estate, and we discovered all of the things that were able to be created from your word. And I was just recently talking to a client. In 1 week, I created a business plan that for 12 years ran the company. So when people talk to me about, oh, I've been in business for 2 or 3 years, but where's your business plan? It's like, well, so it's almost like you're chasing your tail, right? Like you're just like, oh, I'm just doing the business. The business is doing me. And at the Left Foot Coach, why I created and formed the Left Foot Coach was, um, I didn't want business owners to be self-employed thinking they own a business. And so, like, great, you created a job for yourself, but you didn't create freedom for yourself. And so the business operating with you or for you is a great question. And, ultimately, if you know the answers to those questions, you then get to discover other questions. And one of the key questions, if it ever gets to you, is how many vacation days do you have while your business is still forming, selling, delivering, accounting, and managing without you, that you are on vacation? You're like, literally, I don't have a phone. Like, I don't even need to be there because my business is operating without me. And I'm still making money. I still have cash in my account. I'm able to go on I was there. I was in Florida. We were off the Keys. And like, I saw notifications on my phone. There was stuff going on at the company, but everyone had it. Like, they didn't need me. Like, I wasn't delivering the services. I wasn't accountable for paying the bills. I wasn't running the advertising. That worked. It worked without me. So I got to 36 days vacation days paid. I was still drawing salary, whatever bonuses I had, but 36 vacation days. And I asked that question of many business owners, and most often the answer is zero. There are 0 days that some of us as self-employed or business owners that if they weren't there, they couldn't deliver their service, or they couldn't perform on an account. They couldn't manage an account. They couldn't pay a bill. If the bill can't be paid without you, you're not in a business. You're self-employed. And so, differentiating that, I think, for businesses, and part of my history though was as a graduate of Naropa University, which is a Buddhist university, and we were all about social change and still being Buddhist and meditating. And I had the opportunity to consult with over 200 business owners in Boulder, Colorado. We were the Small Business Association. Any conversation you hear about shop locally, I was on the forefront of that. I was like the mysterious third in the relationship of two co-founders, a Boulder bookstore founder, and then an advocate activist, Jeff Milchin. And so I was their intern and created their website and figured it out. So I see a comment, not that bad, but I do work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you work for someone though. And so, like, if you work for someone, that might be what it's like. But if you're working for someone that's you and you're working that much, you don't have the vacations. Your business isn't a machine. And that's what, like, I really found is, like, we operated the business as a machine. Like, it needs oiling, or it needs this, like adjusted or manipulated. And I kind of found secrets into that when I was developing that. Advice for being the face of a company. Well, if you're under $2 to $5 million, you're a personality-driven business. So at about 2 to 5 million is when the company can operate without you, and it's the brand that's delivering the service. So, like, I go to Brakes Plus because it's the brand that delivers the service, not John's mechanic shop, where I'm expecting John to be there. So, and a lot of us as business owners, unfortunately, deliver like Dorothy Graham's podcast, and Dorothy Graham always has to deliver the podcast now, which then, if it was the Left Foot Coach or it was Left Foot Coaching Academy, people they were always like, well, is it soccer? And I'm like, no, it's coaching. We just use soccer as our expression of coaching, and we play soccer a lot, but it was never Christian Izquierdo's soccer training. And that allowed me to sell the company. That allowed me to have vacations. That allowed people to come. It allowed people to come and recognize the values of what a left foot coach would do and deliver and experience. And so that's why I say it's a phenomena of experience, the left foot coach.
Can I just say, I want to give a shout out to Johnny Walker here, who is a Marine veteran. Johnny, this is the first time Johnny's been on our show, so welcome. This guy is amazing. So, and he's asking you all the question here, Christian.
Yeah,
so.
I love it. I'm just reading it. It's kind of nice to read on the screen and acknowledge be who I am with whatever question.
Christian, can we get your information to get it out there to the audience? Where can they contact you?
You can find me on LinkedIn right now. That's kind of like where I'm found. And I'm going with the kind of brand recognition I delivered when I first started. I have like 4 or 5 clients. I'm going to take on 10 clients right now. And Lefty number 1 became like this phenomenal player. She was number 1 in the state. She won a high school state championship. She went to Vermont, and then several kids that she generated from there were amazing successes, because I just put all my effort into like making 3 or 4 clients great. And so that's really my focus right now with the Left Foot Coach. So it's like those who know me, and those who don't know me, because the ones who know me, they're the ones I'm focused on right now. And so I never had a business card in 12 years of running my company. And I stood by that. Like at about year 8, I was like, no, I'm not. I've never had a business card. I'm not using one. If you want to know me, you can go, find me who I am. And so that's the real joy of like the brand I created as well, is that at the peak of our company, I walked onto a session and the kids didn't know who I was. And I was able to stand and watch the services being delivered and talk to customers, and they didn't know who I was. And I'd just be like, "Oh, hi, how you doing? Are you enjoying your experience here? Yeah, is there anything I can get you? Our coaching works and things like that." And I really enjoyed it. And I think that's the liberation of a business owner at that point.
Yeah.
The company's profitable, everything's happening. There was dinner on the table, my kids were around. And things worked because there was just like a calm and a peace, and I call that the walk on the beach. And when you can walk on the beach with your life and your business, I don't know, that's kind of the life I'm creating.
Christian, that sounds like a good package, the walk on the beach package. Would you like my walk on the beach package?
Yeah, like you want to walk on the beach with me, It's like I think every business needs to own it. So here's what we're creating with Dorothy is like, I'm going to get these offers. I got 5 other customers. I want to do it's $500 a month to talk, listen to me, map out your life. Because it is about your relationships, right? So like I created my relationship with my business for my wife and kids, but then at a certain point it didn't work for my life and kids, and so that's why I sold. And being able to sell for my wife and kids, it was part of that liberation and freedom to be able to have a life on the beach, right? So like I created something that I was able to sell, and you know this too, Diana. Like you're able to like complete it and create it, right? You create and complete and move on and go create again. So I think it's a beautiful skill. So I'm offering $500 a month. I get to pick and choose at 2 to 20% of how to be invested in success together with you. And we work for 3 to 6 months to get the basics. And then at 6 months, we're creating and maximizing and amplifying what you got. And if it works out that I get 20% of a cut of anything that I create with you, great. So I'm looking forward to that, and then we sell when we move on. So, but that's and creating exit plans for entrepreneurs. A lot of entrepreneurs don't have exit plans.
So Christian, I need to get responsible. I know that the audience was very much enjoying the richness of what you're delivering tonight, and we have less than a minute to get everyone's fundamentals in. So Diana, would you like to share your 3 fundamentals? And Christian, you want to be ready. You're in the batter's box.
Here we go.
My 3 fundamentals are honesty, intentional, and authentic.
Beautiful. Would you like to say anything more about those? They're pretty solid on their own. And is there anything that drives that for you, Diana?
I always try to be honest in everything I do. I try to be intentional with the people that I meet and the introductions that I make. And authentic is how you build relationships. So I base myself on those 3 things.
Beautiful. If I could heart you right now, I would totally do that. They're awesome. They're awesome. Christian? Bring us home, buddy. Bring us home.
I think building with that is access, opportunity, and flexibility. They were the hallmarks of Left Foot, and by creating them in my life and in all my relationships, does everyone have access to our great services? Am I accessible? Am I open? Is there opportunity? Like we forget how we diminish people's opportunities as well as our own, right? And then the flexibility, like, oh, I'm flexible enough to do whatever I can do wherever the opportunities and the access provide me. And so by answering those 3 questions in my life, I've like opened up love, I've opened up relationships, I've opened up business opportunities. And so access, opportunity, and flexibility. If you can answer those 3 questions for people, your world will be transformed.
Okay, this is just a night of hearts everywhere. Heart. You get a heart and you get a heart. You both get a heart.
Did I get my gold star for the day? Did I get my gold star?
That's right. It's better than a gold star. It's a heart.
Okay.
It's a red heart.
Gold heart.
Gold heart.
Gold heart. See, there you go. It's a gold heart for the evening. There you go.
That's right. Ooh, I think even better.
We just branded something. There we go.
All right. Well, Dorothy, back to you.
Okay, I just have to say I connected Johnny and Christian and LinkedIn, so he wants to talk to you. So there you go. I've done that for you. And thank you to all of our amazing people in the comments here and that have showed up tonight. Definitely has been a pleasure seeing you in the comments and seeing you on here. And thank you so much, Diane and Christian, for sharing your heart and your passion with us on the show tonight. I just absolutely know that both of you have a heart to help people, and we are truly blessed to have you on.
Thing to Diana. Sure. I did 3.5 months research on selling and positioning a cybersecurity for small businesses. If you want any of the glimmerings of that research, let me know.
I will be connecting with you on LinkedIn, and we can meet up. And as long as you're accessible and flexible, we'll be meeting very soon.
All right. I think I might have an opportunity for you.
Hey, you have the special privilege, because you're the guest tonight, to meet up with them in the green room after the show. So bam.
Waffles.
So you two don't go away, but I just want to say a special thank you to our sponsor tonight, Be Oily with Bonnie. Definitely connect with Bonnie for all your essential oil needs, and go to beoilywithbonnie.com for all those needs. With that, again, thank you to everybody, and be unstoppable in all that you do, and see you same time, same channel next week. Bye for now.